In the inland of China, there is an ancient place with many wonders. During the long history of the Chinese nation, 13 dynasties established their capitals and 73 emperors took the helm of state here, lasting over 1,100 years. The terracotta warriors and horses of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, praised as the eighth wonder of the world, make their hometown Shaanxi known worldwide. Shaanxi, which is located in the middle reach of the Yellow River with an area of over 200,000 square kilometers, is the main birthplace of the Chinese nation. The long history and brilliant culture in Shaanxi province have left us a precious cultural heritage. Xi'an, called Chang'an in ancient times, the provincial capital, is a famous historical city known throughout the world and is equally famous with Cairo, Athens, and Rome as one of the four capitals of ancient civilization. Chang'an established its historical position as an ancient political, economic, and cultural center and is also the starting point of the Silk Road. Xi'an's city wall is the biggest and best preserved feudal castle in China. Xi'an now has developed into one of the most famous international tourist cities. On your arrival, an invitation of the ancient ceremony for entering the city gate would be held by the passionate hosts to warmly welcome the honored guests. And you will be greeted with wine and given an ancient passport and a key to the city. While placing yourself in this ancient ceremony, you're sure to feel as if you're really in the ancient Chang'an. With lots of invaluable historic relics and sites, Shaanxi has long been known as the Natural Historic Museum. Here is the biggest imperial mausoleum, Emperor Qin Shi Huang Mausoleum, covering an area of 56 square kilometers with more than 500 burial pits. 8,000 life-sized pottery figurines and horses are discovered in the 3 excavated pits. They are honored as the eighth wonder of the world. This is pit number 1. What you see now is a magnificent-looking military formation, including 3 rows of advanced guards, 38 files of 6,000 infantrymen, and charioteers. Pit number 2 is a combined military formation in the shape of the letter L. About 1,400 terracotta warriors and horses are excavated from here. Pit number 3 is the headquarters. The 2 painted bronze horse-drawn chariots, each weighing 1,243 kilograms and decorated with gold and silver ornaments, were discovered in 1980. The colored pottery figurines, the stone armor, the opera figures, the ceramic animal sculptures from the mausoleum of the Han Dynasty, and the naked figurines of men and women have astonished the world. Since the opening of the museum, more than 200 heads of state or government, as well as millions of overseas tourists, have visited the Museum of the Terracotta Warriors and Horses. Shaanxi History Museum shows both the architectural style of the Tang Dynasty palace and the royal garden style. This museum collects over 370,000 rare cultural relics which span the 5,000-year-old history of the Chinese nation. Over 2,000 rare treasures are now on exhibition, and among them, the pottery wares of the New Stone Age, the bronze vessels of the Western Zhou Dynasty, the tiger-shaped tally of the Qin Dynasty, the warrior statues of the Han Dynasty, and the colored glazed pottery of the Song Dynasty are all acclaimed as the acme of perfection. The frescoes of the Tang Dynasty and the tri-colored glazed pottery wares on the Silk Road reflect the prosperity and the cultural and economic exchange in the Tang Dynasty. The gold and silver vessels of the Tang and the Song Dynasty are all very remarkable. A giant inverted flowing pot made of blue glazed pottery will bring you to the biggest museum of ancient pottery in China, the Museum for the Kiln Ruins of Yaozhou. Here, a pagoda-shaped black glazed porcelain vase presents its elegance as the national treasure. The Forest of Stone Tablets is the largest stone book library in China. Banpu Museum, which is located on the east bank of the Chan River, is a typical archaeological site of the matriarchal society that existed 6,000 years ago. Maoling Mausoleum is the tomb of the Emperor Wu Di of the Western Han Dynasty 2,000 years ago. This group of huge rare stone sculptures in front of the tomb is the best preserved of its kind in China. Tianling Mausoleum in Qianshan County of Shaanxi is the joint tomb of Wu Zetian and her husband, Emperor Li Zhi. The unlettered tablet is relating the philosophy of life of Wu Zetian, the only woman emperor in China's history, in silence. Within Shaanxi province are a lot of traces of the ancient Three Kingdoms. Your visit to the Wuzhangyuan Highland, Wuhou Temple, and Wuhou Tomb will increase your appreciation for the wisdom and tact of Zhuge Liang, the famous prime minister of the Shu Kingdom. This ancient plank roadway and the engravings on the cliff at Shimen demonstrate the extraordinary skills of the ancient artists and artisans. You can appreciate the gem of calligraphy, 13 pieces of calligraphy on Shimen Cliff housed in Hanzhong Museum. The Mausoleum of the Yellow Emperor, the common ancestor of the Chinese nations, is located on Qiaoshan Mountain in Hualien County, Shaanxi. On the tomb's sweeping day in early spring, tens of thousands of Chinese come from overseas to seek their roots and worship. This strengthens the ties between the Chinese people and overseas Chinese all over the world. Shaanxi province is not only abundant in historic relics, but also famous for its beautiful natural scenery. 120 kilometers away from Xi'an is Huashan Mountain, one of the 5 most famous mountains in China. It is 2,160 meters above sea level and famous for its inaccessibility. It consists of 5 peaks forming a circle with one in the middle, very much like a lotus flower. There used to be only one way leading to the mountaintop, but now a cableway makes your trip easy and enjoyable. Hukou Waterfall on the Yellow River, located 360 kilometers to the north of Xi'an, is the largest waterfall on the Yellow River. The tide of the Yellow River is surging ahead and suddenly comes to a stop here, becoming a narrow channel like a giant pot. It forms a 30-meter drop, looking most magnificent. Mr. Ke Shouliang, the famous stunt flying actor, achieved instant fame by driving over Hukou Waterfall in a car in 1997. Huaqing Hot Spring, lying in Lishan Mountain Scenic Spot, is as beautiful as a painting and famous for its legendary stories. In the sky will be 2 lovebirds flying together, and on the earth will be twin branches on one tree. The emperor and his concubine had once here expressed their loving ideal. Here you can also appreciate the effect of magical water while bathing in a hot spring. Mount Taibai, the highest peak of Qinling Mountains, is located 130 kilometers to the west of Xi'an, 3,767 meters above sea level. Here you can appreciate the weather of 4 seasons in a very short time. Zoologists come from abroad to make investigations in the giant panda and ibis preserve. Guanshan grassland, on which fine horses are galloping, and Hongjian Lake, the largest freshwater desert lake in China, are both wonderful holiday resorts. Buddhism developed into 10 different schools after it was introduced into China. Shaanxi is the birthplace of 8 of them. Famen Temple is the imperial Buddhist temple of the Tang Dynasty and a holy place of Buddhism. There on display are the sole remains of Sakyamuni's finger bones and 2,499 treasures donated to Buddha by the emperors of the Tang Dynasty. The Big Wild Goose Pagoda in Ci-En Temple, built in 652 AD, is a simply shaped 7-story tower and is 64 meters high. It is famous because of the Buddhist master Xuanzang, who translated Buddhist sutra here. The Little Wild Goose Pagoda, situated in the Jianfu Temple within the city of Xi'an, was built in 707 AD. The 13-story structure is 43.3 meters high. There's a huge bronze bell in the temple. The sound of the bell re-echoing in the early morning forms one of the 8 sighs in Guanzhong area. Shaanxi Temple, located in Xi'an, was set up in 706 AD. It is the birthplace of the Jintu sect of the Buddhism. Built in 669 AD, Shaanxi Temple is one of the 8 great temples in Fanchuan in the Tang Dynasty. The remains of Xuanzang, an eminent monk in the Tang Dynasty, is buried here. Big Xingshan Temple, Caotang Temple, and Qianyou Temple are Mecca for Buddhists and other religious tourists. Over 3,000 painted Buddhist statues in the Shui-Luan Temple, located in Lantian County in Xi'an, demonstrate a great skill and excellent workmanship of the ancient Chinese sculptors. The mosque in Huajie Lane was built in 742 AD. It combines the ancient Chinese architectural style with that of Islamic structures. The Loess and the Yellow River have nurtured the people here and given birth to the unique Loess culture. Yan'an is the sacred place from which Mao Zedong and other communist leaders led the Chinese Revolution to victory. A lot of sites, such as Baotashan Mountain, the Date Garden, and Yangjialing, evoke memories of the past years. For thousands of years, people